Hello, Matthew Brooks here at Dubai Creek Golf and Yacht Club, and we are inside our indoor Swing Catalyst and TrackMan studio. As the ambassador of Swing Catalyst here at the club, I'm going to be showing you some information on how the Swing Catalyst can help you in your golf game and what we do here at the Academy to help you as best as we can. The Swing Catalyst, if you don't know, takes and gives us information on 3D forces. So there are forces that go into the ground and pressures that then cause our body, thus making the golf club move as well. And I'm going to talk about how important it is, what we look for, what we want to do, and also how to improve those forces not only here in the studio but also up in the gym. So without further ado, today we're going to get started with working out what post of golfer you are. Okay, so what do I mean when I say what post of golfer we are? So when I say post, I basically mean what leg do you best work around? Are you a front post golfer, which would be, as a right-handed golfer, our left leg or our lead leg? Are we a rear post golfer, which would be a trail leg? Or are we a centre post golfer, which would basically mean that we're best at using both legs? Might sound a bit odd, but we do get different golfers, and not one person, or there's not one pattern that is really more common. We do get a mixture of both rear, centre and front posters. And there's a very simple drill or exercise that I like to do. There's a couple, but I'm going to go over both of them, but the one that I really like is actually hitting balls stood on the leg to see what we do. And we use the launch monitor here to help us understand which one is best. So the one which we do, which really you need the Swing Catalyst to actually find the answer, but we'll just go into golf setup, feet shoulder width apart, arms out nice and wide, and from here I'm just going to rotate into my backswing. And if I look up at the screen now, I can see this. I'll show you guys in another clip, but I am 50-50. I'm 51 on my trail leg. So that would be classed as a centre post golfer. So I'm a golfer who works best with both feet. And the next part is that then gives me an answer on whether someone is a horizontal dominant player, if someone is a spin or torque based player, or if someone is more of a vertical based player. So basically, which force are they more dominant on or more dominant in, and which one should they be better at using? This then also gives me an answer on how much they should load into their trail leg in the backswing. So if we are a front post golfer, we are sort of 55% into the trail leg. If we are a centre post golfer, we are more 65, and then if we're a rear post golfer, we're more 75% into our trail leg. So we're actually loading into our back leg more as a rear post golfer for us to then push off it. And that's why we're more of a horizontal player. We work better going from one side into the other. So I'm a centre post golfer, so I'm more of a torque-based player. I work very well in rotating better, creating torque forces. And this is the second part that you guys can do at home to try and work out what post golfer you are. So what we'll do is we'll get the TrackMan set up. We'll have ball speed and club head speed showing up on the screen. And all we'll do is we'll hit 5 shots on our left foot, 5 shots with our feet a couple inches apart, and then 5 shots standing on our right leg only. Right, okay, so from those five shots each, we were testing our rear post, which was our trail leg, our centre post, which was both of our feet together, a couple of inches apart, and then our front post, which is standing on our left leg. We're aiming to try and hit these, with a good amount of force. Don't feel like you need to be holding your balance in the finish kind of thing, but every ball is level with the centre of the foot you're stood on, or obviously going level with the centre of your 2 feet when you're testing centre post. So first of all, we've got our rear post. So you can see here 82 mile an hour clubhead speed. I was hitting an 8 iron here. We've got a ball speed of 110 and then a carry of 151. That was our rear post. We've then got our centre post, ball speed 115, 85 clubhead speed and 160 carry. And then finally onto our front post, we've got a 158 carry, 116 ball speed and 86 mile an hour clubhead speed. So it's tight between these two. Obviously you can see rear post, clubhead speed is down, carries down, ball speed is also down. But with our centre post and our front post, we've got a little bit more carry with our centre post on average. But then we do have a higher ball speed with our front post. So that was our centre, front, so ball speed and clubhead speed both increase on the front post. But then we can also see that we've actually got a little bit consistency of distance and strike was slightly off. We had one bad one there really. But so, you know, again, linking back to the first test we did with the arms out wide, you can see there, you know, I haven't found it yet where the results are different between this one and the hitting shots. Once we work out what post the player is, I like the player to really use that post, whether it be right leg, left leg or feet together, as a real good drill feeling to help them feel how they should be loading in the backswing. So for myself, for example, a lot of players that I have who are centre post, I will actually get them hitting shots a lot of the time, starting up their warm-up with their feet together, and they're feeling how everything is really rotating around the spot. There's not much lateral movement, and just taking that drill feeling into the swing feeling a little bit more, whether that be that they slowly get wider, slowly get longer and faster, whatever feels most comfortable with them. Same if they were a rear leg. So, you know, when we're on our right leg, pretty much all of our pressure is on our trail leg. So the feeling we want to take from that is that we are loading into my trail side a lot more. Now we don't want to start swaying like this, so the player's got to understand that it's not a sway, it's more of a pressure shift, but we're still looking at, when we get them on the swing catalyst, that we're looking for a much greater number shifting into their trail side. So this would be the kind of pressure trace movement pattern that we'd like to see in more of a horizontal or rear post golfer. So I'm really feeling myself shifting from one side or one leg into the other leg, much more of a horizontal play. And I'll talk about how each force as well affects certain club data more than others. So this is now more of a centre post, what we'd like to see, the pattern for a centre post golfer, which I should be good at really. And then onto our front post golfer. Okay, so this is our rear post golfer, and what we're going to be focusing on is, yes, how the body and maybe this knee works, but also this pressure trace, and then also these forces. So this is our rear post golfer. This is a golfer that works on a more horizontal basis. They load into their trail leg much greater than any other golfer. So you can see here I've done this up to 90%, which is potentially a little bit too much, but this is just the pattern that we're looking for. And then from here, we're seeing that that lead knee can actually drop in a little bit more towards the other leg, but we're still feeling a rotation of the shoulders and the pelvis. Now from here, of all three shots, being a rear post golfer, this had the greatest amount of horizontal force, topping off at 27 pounds. Okay, which makes sense. You're loading into your right leg more, you're pushing off your right leg more to get into your left leg more. This also had the lowest amount of torque, topping out at 57 pounds, with the vertical torque force actually being very high. We then followed through into our left side and up into our finish. This ball carried 157 yards, 84 mph club head speed. Right, video and shot number 2. So this was a centre post. So this is me. This is my swing. This is something that I should actually be best at. Funnily enough, this was the one that carried the furthest. So 170 yards, 85 mph club head speed. And what we're looking at here is we're looking at a smaller load into the backswing. So I go a little bit too much here. I go up into 80. I'd like that to stay no more than 70 really, so we've got 76 there. But we should see that this knee should stay over this foot a little bit more. It doesn't buckle or drop in towards this knee as much. This shot had the mid-range for sort of horizontal force. We had 25 pounds of force, which, you know, you're a centre post, you are going right to left a little bit. It had the highest amount of torque force, and I'm a torque or spinner of a player. So we've got 60 pounds of that, and then again the vertical was pretty high. These darker shaded areas are tour average, just for those of you who don't know. And then from here, obviously, we're coming through same as usual, so 170 carry. And then the final shot, which was the front post golfer. So this one carried 169. It was actually the fastest club head speed of the 3. And the pattern here is we're looking at less of a load into our trail leg. Again, I haven't pulled this off very well, but you can see how that knee is staying over this foot even more so now. This had the lowest horizontal force, which again links to the type of post I was trying to play. This was 20 pounds versus 27 when we were going horizontal. So this is dropped because we are not so much of a dominant horizontal player. We are staying a lot more centered, and with this we should then have a higher torque, not higher than the center post golfer, which it isn't. It's only 59. Again, everything is very tight, very close, but it's just a pattern that we look for. And then vertical should really be the highest, with this one being a front post golfer. Okay, so there we have it. There is an explanation video kind of talking about how to find out what your post is. Obviously, one test really needs the swing catalyst, another test needs a launch monitor, or you can sort of do it on feel. But that helps us work out what post of golfer they are. It then helps us work out how much they should be loading or how they should be loading in the backswing, and what forces we should see that are most dominant depending on the type of post player that the individual is. And even more so, what will happen is that whether you're a glider or a horizontal player, a spinner player, or a launcher of a player, that will then go into even more detail in terms of what we focus on in the gym. And this is something I'll start to cover at a later date, but we will be talking about how to increase your horizontal force in the gym, how to increase your torque force in the gym, and how to increase your vertical force in the gym. Now, ideally, we want all of them as high as we can, but if you are a center post golfer, you are going to be a torque, vertical, dominant golfer. If you are a horizontal player, or a rear post golfer, you're going to be more of a lateral, horizontal force dominant player. And if you're a front post golfer, you're going to be a lot more of a vertical launcher kind of player. And that's where in the gym we will focus more on certain exercises that focus on those forces, but not ruling out the others. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Like I said, there's going to be more to come. We'll be talking about which forces affect what club data more so than others, how to increase the forces if you are a horizontal, a torque, or a vertical, and plenty more to come. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and keep your eyes peeled for more to come. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon.